Okay, guys, welcome. Once again, I'm going to go ahead and give you the lecture, I guess, the PowerPoint notes first through this video. And when I took a little poll from people about how they wanted it, I got about a 50-50. So I might not have talked to you, but I probably talked to the person next to you. That half the people, they like the taking the notes this way through this video on Canvas, and the other half like it when I am doing it here in person and giving it to you here to where you guys can talk to me and I can ask questions and have you guys stop and think about things for a bit. So we're going to do a little bit of both. Same thing as last time. I will start out with a video and then it will finish with a lecture. Both the video and the PowerPoint will end up on Canvas, so you should be able to look at it through there. But as you can see, let's go ahead and get started. One of the good things about doing this through this video is that you can pause whenever you want to take notes. So it's impossible for me to go too fast, which is great. So as you can see up there at the top of the screen, right here, hopefully you can see my mouse moving around. Go ahead and go to page 38 to start taking these notes. Even if you have pages 33 to 38 and they're blank, whatever, just go to page 38. Some people are already all the way up to page 38, but go ahead and go there. And it should be titled 1607 Jamestown, England's First Colony. Or you can just title it 1607 and then Jamestown, and then underneath that, write England's first colony. So the subtitle for this is, of course, The Colony of Stubborn Idiots and Stupid Ideas. And I think you already know why that is. I gave a little teaser about that at the end of the last PowerPoint, so hopefully you know. So I'm going to move on to the next slide. If at any time that you need to pause, go ahead and do that and write the stuff down. Oh my gosh, look at all that stuff. Lots of stuff to write. And let's move that down a little bit more. Move that down a little bit more right here. All right. All right. All right. So France wants to get a piece of the action. First of all, we know that Spain is over here. France wants to figure out what's happening in the Americas as well. As you already know, they make a colony on the Texas coast, and within a year, Spain attacks them and kicks them out. Well, not like a really bloody attack, but Spain pretty much tells them they got to leave. Hopefully, you already have that down. If not, go ahead and write it again. They try to find something called the Northwest Passage to get to Asia, and instead they find the St. Lawrence River. So this St. Lawrence River, that's very important. That St. Lawrence River is right here. It's the river from Lake Erie out to the Atlantic Ocean. And they think that going up this river to these lakes is the way to get to the Pacific Ocean. So that's how they're trying to get there. Unfortunately, these lakes are up much higher than the rivers, so there are waterfalls going down. They got to figure out a way to get from lake to lake and through the waterfalls. So it's not that easy, but they really do believe that there is some sort of river passage to get to the Pacific. So they don't find it, but they do like the area, and they start settling there. So this is the area that they settle in, and the main place that they settle down here is a place called Quebec, which is along this river, right near the lake. Pretty much as easy to get to the lake as it is to the Atlantic Ocean. They put it in the middle, and they named that settlement Quebec. And we would pronounce it Quebec, but they can pronounce it Quebec because they are French. And that is sort of the capital of their new area, of their colony in North America, Quebec. All right, I'm going to tell you about the French flag. Don't worry about it right here. It's going to be on the next page. Whoa, on the next page right here. And I got to move this out of the way. All right, so this is the French flag at the time. You know that you already have the Spanish flag, so now let's do the French flag. Those yellow lilies are called the fleur de lis. So you guys can go ahead and say that fleur de lis. Look at that. It's the silent S rule. So fleur de lis. What I want you to do is I'm going to want you to go ahead and pause it now, and I'm going to want you to spend about 5 minutes drawing this, labeling it French flag, and also labeling the fleur de lis. They're supposed to be lilies. To me, they kind of look like the end of spears. To me, they look like the end of spears, but I guess I shouldn't be thinking of it that way. They're flowers, aren't they pretty and not deadly at all? So anyway, you've probably seen that before, especially if you are a football fan and you watch like if you're a fan of of New Orleans, because they have the French fleur de lis symbol on their helmets down in New Orleans. Um, let's see. So I want to go ahead and pause, spend about 5 minutes drawing, labeling, and coloring this, and then continue on. Um, do that here on this page. If you have about half a page of room, you're going to need about half a page to do this, or just go back to any of the blank pages before 38. If you have any blank pages before 38, and go ahead and do that on there, and just title that page French flag, and you'll be able to update that in your table of contents later. But let's go on to the next slide. Oh my gosh, this screen is always in the wrong space, so we're going to bring it way down here for now. Okay, the Dutch, they want part of the action as well, and you might remember that from your map. The Dutch is that little purple banana shaped area up there in New York City, or where New York City is today. It wasn't New York City then, but this was the first colony in New York, where New York City is. They wanted to be, the Dutch are not super powerful. They didn't have a lot of powerful warships. They wanted to get a piece of America, but they didn't want to be so close that they get bullied or attacked by the Spanish. That's why they built all the way up in New York, and they settled on Manhattan Island because it's so far away. They named their colony New Amsterdam. Today it's called New York. And they bought the entire area from the natives using bells and spoons and little silver things that jingle. That's worth about $24 in today's market. And the natives thought they got a great deal because they thought that these Europeans didn't understand how things work, and they didn't think that you could buy land because you can't buy something that can't be made. Uh, you can buy resources from the land, but they didn't think that you could buy the land. So they thought they had a really great deal, and they ended up leaving the island and letting the Dutch live there. Next slide. All right, definitely don't take notes on this page. I just want you to see this photograph. Well, the bottom one's a photograph. The top one is a computer generated vision of what it would have looked like in the past. This is Manhattan Island, where the Dutch landed and where the Dutch colonized, calling it New Amsterdam. And you can see from the 1600s, there's just like a couple of places. This is back before there were Europeans here, but you can see just a couple places where some smoke is coming up. There are a few like little native villages on the island there, and look how green it is. Look at how it's green, and everything around it is green. There are just trees everywhere. And then 2000 AD, the only place you're going to really see any trees is in Central Park, because that whole area is city. It's all city block now. And unfortunately, you can see this area here that's all covered in rubble. That is where the Twin Towers would have been standing in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. They would have been right here, and they would have been the two largest buildings in this whole picture. But now there's that area instead. But as you can see right here, this is a lot of high-rise buildings. It is one of the most densely populated places in the United States today, and Manhattan is well known all throughout the world. Everybody in the world knows what Manhattan is. It's well known. So now let's get to the English. The first English settlers, they landed in Virginia. As you can see, it is bold, which means that you should highlight it. And they called their colony Jamestown, which is after King James, King James of England. Once again, bold, make sure you highlight it. And the English thought they would be just as successful. That was a tongue twister. They thought they would be just as successful as the Spanish. Lots of just as successful as the Spanish because they were smart, rich people that knew how to deal with money. But that's not necessarily the best thing you want to have when you go and colonize somewhere. All right. However, history, they did not do so well. They were all jewelers, merchants, craftsmen, gentlemen. They were merchants, pretty much. However, no, that's misspelled no. No. However, no hunters, fishermen, or farmers came with them, and they thought they were too rich and too important to bother with things like hunting and fishing and farming or anything that got their hands a little bit dirty. They didn't want that. So I didn't make it bold, but you should absolutely know this that they were jewelers, merchants, craftsmen, and gentlemen, rich people. They were not hunters, they were not farmers, they were not fishermen, they were not survivalists, they were not people that you would want to have live with you in a zombie apocalypse to rebuild society, probably. All right. They were rich. They were so rich that they decided to spend their money, besides just on the ships to get over there, but they also spent their money. Oh, there's cannon fire right there. On 3 state-of-the-art cannons from the time, many cannonballs, and a lot of muskets. So that's what they spent their money on. Now, here's how smart or how stupid that is. They bought 3 of these cannons. Cannons are not cheap. One cannon is the same as 20 chickens, 10 goats, and 5 cows. And probably if they weren't just rich guys thinking they're going to go over there and just do fine without farming or whatever, then maybe they would have made some different choices. What choices would you make? How important would it be to bring cannons with you? And how important would it be to bring chickens, goats, or cows with you? So go ahead and write that stuff down, of course, and pause if I'm going too fast, which I'm sure I am. All right, this is a very important, very, very important painting. You're going to see this again later. So the English settlers, they built this small wooden fort to protect themselves in the middle of this swamp. And along the outside, you can see that there's some forest area and stuff, but not on the inside. They thought it'd be a great idea to do this in a swamp because the swamp would hopefully deter people from attacking them, which means deter means that people would go, "Ugh, I don't want to go attack somebody in a swamp. That's disgusting." So they thought that was a great idea to put their settlement someplace where people want to attack. However, they removed all those trees. They were soaking up water, and the area was so small that there was no place for the place to grow. They couldn't grow and make their colony much larger just because there's no way to support it. Next slide. All right. So these guys thought that they were better, of course, and more righteous than natives. They considered natives savages. And that, I'm going to move this over here. And that is actually how a lot of them would have dressed back then. That is smashing. And that was the height of fashion. People thought that those pants were hot, and that's what people wanted all the time. Those pants would cost a lot of money, and they're baggy on top and tight on the bottom. Uh, so who knows? Fashion sometimes come back. Maybe your kids someday will be wearing styles like that. Um, so they thought they were better than natives, but of course they needed natives' help to survive. Whoa, let's move this all the way over here. So they weren't doing so good. And John Smith forces them. John Smith is this guy who actually is he's rich and he is well known, but he is also a survivalist and he knows how to survive and he knows he's a leader. He knows how to manage people. John Smith heads over there and takes control of it because everybody's all lazy and not wanting to work. And he says that he that will not work shall not eat. So he forces everybody to work. And if they don't work, then they're not going to eat. He forces them to make peace with the natives because they thought the natives were below them and that they should be able to go out there and take whatever they want from the natives. And the natives didn't really like them. Didn't really like that. So he leaves for England. The colonists stop working and they attack the natives. Oh, when he leaves for England, when he leaves and goes back to England, the colonists they stop working and they go back to attacking the natives because they have guns. They attack the natives and take food. Unfortunately, the natives kill more settlers in this exchange. John Smith returns and makes peace. Now, John Smith is not the person who marries Pocahontas. Some people think that it's John Smith because of that Disney movie, but that is wrong. It's actually John Rolfe who marries Pocahontas, and the age difference is pretty interesting. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause for a moment, or I'm going to let you guys pause for a moment, and I want you to open up another tab and look at how old John Smith was when he met Pocahontas, and look at how old John Rolfe was when he married Pocahontas. Ugh. It's history, so I guess you should know that. Yeah, so go ahead and pause and look up that. It's sad. All right, we'll move on. With the right button, we will. All right. Since they bought 3 cannons, they set up a 3-sided fort, which you see right here. What I'm going to want you to do is you're going to have to get a piece of blank paper, blank white paper, which is, if you look at the front of the classroom, there is a black music stand. It's facing you, and it has a piece of blank paper with your name on it. Your name's not on it, but you're going to put your name on it. So that piece of blank white paper, you're going to pick it up. You're going to fold it in half, hamburger style, open it back up. And I want you to take some time. You can use rulers. You can use whatever you want. You can use templates, whatever you want. The only thing you can't do is you can't hold it over your screen and trace. But you can use however you want to go ahead and recreate your own illustration of the Jamestown settlement. It should look something like that. Go ahead and use some color in it, and use about 30 minutes of careful attention to detail on this illustration. That's going to be the main assignment for today and tomorrow. You'll have some time to work on it as well. It's going to be sort of at your pace, so you decide that. I'll move this. I'll move the picture once again, or the picture of me out of the way so that you can pause and you have a pretty good view of the settlement. So let me tell you a little bit about the settlement. All right, so here we have it in the middle of a swamp, and it's terrible. It sucks for them. This area in here, it's all red and stuff. They keep on putting sawdust and stuff down to try to soak up the water because they're in a swamp. But unfortunately, the sawdust rots and it stinks and it's not good. It kind of ferments a little bit. You can see they do get a couple of animals eventually here and there, not too many. Oh, look, I can see a cannon here, and I can see a cannon here, and I can see a cannon here. So it had 3 sides. It had 3 cannons originally. Eventually, other people would bring cannons over. But it was a 3-sided fort. All these trees, all this wood and stuff, all came from them harvesting it from where they are. They chopped this thing down If you've ever played one of those sort of real-time strategy games like Warcraft or something, you chop down all the forest around you and you build your city there. So that's what they did. But the problem is that, and we know that because we live here in Juneau, is that those trees are what are soaking up all that moisture and preventing it from flooding all the time. And that's why we have all those trees here in Juneau. Now, people from rich people who don't know much about trees or the outside, merchants and jewelers might not know that when they're coming from England. They just want to clear the place out and build a city. Now, the problem is that another problem is that it invites the most dangerous animal to humans on this planet, which are mosquitoes. Not other humans. Mosquitoes kill more humans than humans. As a matter of fact, mosquitoes kill over twice as many humans as humans kill each other. So that's how dangerous mosquitoes are. And if you want to, you can pause and you can look up which animal is the most dangerous animal to humans or something like that. And it's going to say mosquitoes. More dangerous than sharks, more dangerous than bears, more dangerous than bear sharks, more dangerous than helicopters, more dangerous than people. And helicopters, by the way, are not animals, so they don't count. Um, so let's go back to this. We have the walls around it. Here are a couple of boats, little boats that they would take out to the ocean, where they have their bigger ships anchored. And they bring it back and forth. They didn't have a deep water port for them to pull up big ships, so those have to stay out here in the ocean. And this place is lame. It is a nasty swamp, and the soil is very acidic, and things don't like to grow there. There is a plant that does like to grow there that we're going to learn about later, but it's not a plant from Europe. It's a new plant just from the Americas that they're going to find out about. So go ahead and pause, spend some time. I'd love to get up and walk around and see some of your beautiful illustrations. And when you're done, you're going to do the same thing that you do with a map. You're going to fold it in half, and you're going to tape one side of it on the inside of your next blank page so that it will fold open outward, so that it makes your journal look longer when you open and look at it. So pause, do that, and I'm going to move on. No, I'm not. That's the end. That was it. That's everything. Oh, I thought I was only going to give you half of this PowerPoint, but I guess not. I'm giving you the whole thing. Of course, I don't expect that this thing will be done in one day, and I'm sure you guys know that because you're here, and I can't travel in time. And I did this in the past, and I'm predicting that this will take a couple of days to get through. And now that you're at the end, you're through this, so I don't need to tell you now, even though now in real time, you guys haven't done it yet because I'm recording it. But in future time, you've already done this 2 days, and it took you 2 days minus the interruption in the future. But I don't know about that yet because I don't know about the 2 days that it takes or the interruption, because I'm still in the past and I'm only predicting the future. And that's really confusing. All right. So that's it. Oh, and this is a boat. The end.